Hey guys, Tate here. In this video, we're going to be working on going from downward facing dog, floating up into our crow. It's one of my favorite transitions. I kind of look at it as my gateway drug for floating. It's where I learned how to kind of create that control to be able to take it further into other poses and other transitions. So for me, this one just took a lot of practice in knowing the right techniques. So what I'll do here is just share a few of my techniques, a few of my tips in order for you to then take it to your mat and work on this transition. So the first thing I want to discuss is the belly engagement. So in crow, we always talk about drawing the belly in, drawing it up. You can see here that my upper back rounds as I draw the belly underneath my lower ribs. What that does in your crow is it solidifies the crow and it brings the hips up, brings the feet up, and allowing your crow to be more stable and more light. So we're going to keep that belly engagement going from downward facing dog all the way forward. And I'll show it here in the crow of what I'm talking about. So in our crow, when we set it up, we want our wrist creases pretty much parallel to the top of the mat. Our fingers are spread comfortably. They don't need to be super wide. They're not together. You want them just in a comfortable position. You want to wrap your elbows forward. You want to externally rotate the shoulders. So the biceps are going to wrap away from each other. If the biceps aren't wrapping away from each other and your elbow creases aren't facing forward, what happens a lot is it's like when you're throwing a rock into a pond, right? When you throw the rock in, the water goes out. So when we're here and we press into our hands, you can see here that my elbows want to go out. So by wrapping elbow creases forward, by externally rotating the shoulders, we're setting the shoulders as well as setting the elbows underneath the shoulders to keep the elbows in, which then allows us to engage the lats and the serratus. Because if the elbows are out, right, we don't have the stability in the shoulders, but more importantly, we don't have the serratus and the lats fired up to support us. So in our crow, we wrap our elbow creases forward. We grip with our fingertips. We want to see our fingertips turn white. Then we lift our knees as high up on the triceps as possible. Maybe you take them wide and you squeeze in. I just find it more comfortable and I find more control with my knees on my triceps as close to the armpits. I'm then going to lean forward and look forward, pick up one foot, pick up the other, thumbs traction towards each other. And then you can see the belly engagement as I draw my belly and my upper back skin around, and now I'm just so much more stable here in this pose. So we're going to take that stabilization, that's the fundamentals of our crow, we're going to apply it at the beginning of our transition from downward facing dog and keeping it all the way through to our crow. So from here, in your downward facing dog, you want a little bit narrower or shorter of a stance than you normally do in your downward facing dog. So walk your feet in a little bit. Again, press into the hands, feel lengthening through the outsides of the armpits. And then you want to take your elbow creases, wrap them forward. Again, setting the elbows, getting them ready to be able to bend and stay underneath the shoulders. We'll then lift our heels, bend our knees, look as far forward as possible. Keep looking forward, and then think about sending your hips over your shoulders. Once the hips are over the shoulders, again, keep the elbows wrapping forward, draw your belly in, shift your heart forward to balance the butt, set the elbows down, or the knees down on the elbows, and then draw the belly in, solidify the pose, and then set them down. Again, you want to think about getting my hips up, drawing the belly in, leading the chest forward to counterbalance the butt, and then set the knees down, thumbs traction towards each other, belly pulls back in, and you just solidify the crow. The things that kind of get people that get held up on that is what you'll see a lot of times is they'll get their hips up, but they won't shift their chest forward, and their knees then just come slamming down. The chest forward, so think about bending the elbows, bringing the chest forward and down to counterbalance the butt. That'll help you drop the knees down slightly. Now if you're like, I'm just scared to set my knees down on my elbows, that's kind of your hold up point. What I'd recommend to kind of develop this float is taking the float up, getting the hips over the shoulders, and then setting the feet down in Bakasana squat, stepping the feet back, re-hopping it forward. So again, what that'll look like, again, choke up on your downward facing dog. Elbow creases wrap forward. Press through the hands, grip with the fingers, lift the heels, bend the knees, look forward, hips up, hips up, hips up, and then set the feet down, Bakasana squat. Then take it back. And just keep working that transition until you're comfortable setting the feet down. And then once you're comfortable there, work on placing the knees onto the triceps. Try to go as slowly as you can. Again, the more you can send the heart forward and down, so the more you bend your elbows to begin with, the lighter the knees are going to be able to come onto the triceps. But the key with this is belly engagement. It's elbow creases wrapping forward, and then it's sending the hips over the shoulders, Chest leads forward, knees slightly down, slowly down onto the triceps, and then it's firming up the belly, tractioning the thumbs towards each other, finding stability in the crow. So just keep working at it. Don't be discouraged if you don't get it the first time or the 100th time or the 1000th time. Just know every time you do it, you're building the core strength, you're building the muscle memory to get it the one time that it takes. Namaste.